Life doesn't warn you before it tests you. One day, everything feels normal. And the next, you're standing at a crossroads, unsure which direction to take. This is the story of Ethan Carter, an ordinary man with ordinary dreams, who learned an extraordinary lesson: the life-changing power of positive thinking. Ethan wasn't born into wealth or privilege. He grew up in a small town where opportunities were limited, and expectations were even smaller. People around him believed that life was something that happened to you, not something you could shape. From a young age, Ethan unknowingly absorbed this belief. He learned to expect less, to hope quietly, and to accept failure as fate. For years, he lived with a negative mindset, believing that success belonged to others, people who were luckier, smarter, or better connected. But life had something else planned for him. A single shift in his thinking would change everything. By the time Ethan turned 30, his life felt stuck. He worked a low-paying job in a warehouse, lifting heavy boxes for long hours. His dreams of becoming a writer had faded into the background, buried beneath exhaustion and self-doubt. Every morning, Ethan woke up already tired. Not just physically, but mentally. His thoughts were filled with phrases like, "I'm not good enough. Nothing ever works out for me. Why even try?" These thoughts followed him everywhere. When he made a mistake at work, he saw it as proof that he was a failure. When someone succeeded, he felt jealous instead of inspired. His mind had become his greatest enemy. One rainy evening, after another long and frustrating day, Ethan sat alone in his small apartment. The lights flickered, the walls felt closer than usual, and his heart felt heavy. He looked around at his life and whispered to himself, "Is this all there is?" That night, something unexpected happened. The next morning, on his way to work, Ethan stopped at a small cafe he rarely visited. Inside, he noticed an elderly man sitting by the window, smiling as if the rain outside didn't exist. The man's calm presence felt unusual in a world that always seemed rushed. When Ethan ordered his coffee, the man spoke gently. "Rough morning." Ethan sighed. "Rough life," he replied without thinking. The old man smiled. "Life isn't rough. Our thoughts about life are." Those words caught Ethan off guard. They began talking, and the man introduced himself as Mr. Harris, a retired teacher. As they talked, Mr. Harris listened carefully, not interrupting, not judging. Ethan found himself opening up, sharing his frustrations, his failures, and his fears. After listening quietly, Mr. Harris said something that would stay with Ethan forever. "Your life follows the direction of your thoughts. Change your thinking, and your life will follow." Ethan wanted to argue. Life wasn't that simple, was it? But something in the man's eyes made him pause. Before leaving, Mr. Harris handed Ethan a small notebook and said, "For the next 30 days, write down 3 positive thoughts every morning, even if you don't believe them yet." Especially then. Ethan nodded politely, unsure if he would ever open that notebook. At first, positive thinking felt fake to Ethan. The first morning, he stared at the empty notebook for 10 minutes. His mind was trained to find problems, not hope. Finally, he wrote, "I am capable of learning. Today can be better than yesterday. My effort matters." The words felt strange, almost dishonest. But he kept writing. Days passed, and nothing magical happened. His job was still hard. His bank account was still low. But something subtle began to change. His reactions. When a coworker criticized him, Ethan didn't immediately feel crushed. When he made a mistake, he didn't attack himself. Slowly, he began to notice opportunities where he once saw obstacles. Positive thinking didn't remove his problems, but it changed how he faced them. One afternoon, Ethan noticed a sign at work asking for volunteers to help with inventory management. Normally, he would have ignored it, convinced he wasn't smart enough. But a thought crossed his mind. What if he three? That single question changed everything. He volunteered. The task was challenging, but Ethan worked hard and stayed focused. Instead of saying, "I can't do this," he told himself, "I'm learning." His supervisor noticed his effort and responsibility. Within months, Ethan was offered a better position with more pay. It wasn't a dream job, but it was progress. For the first time, Ethan realized something powerful. Positive thinking leads to positive action. With renewed confidence, Ethan returned to his old dream of writing. Every evening, He wrote for 30 minutes, even when he felt tired or uninspired. At first, his writing wasn't great, but instead of quitting, he reminded himself, progress is better than perfection. He submitted short stories to online platforms and faced rejection after rejection. But this time rejection didn't stop him. He saw it as feedback, not failure. One day, an email arrived. A small online magazine wanted to publish one of his stories. Ethan stared at the screen, his heart pounding. Tears filled his eyes. It wasn't fame or fortune, but it was validation. Proof that belief, effort, and patience could create change. Years passed, and Ethan's life continued to improve. Not because everything was perfect, but because his mindset had changed. When challenges came, he faced them with courage instead of fear. When failure appeared, he treated it as a lesson instead of an ending. When doubt whispered, he answered with action. Ethan often thought about Mr. Harris and the notebook that started it all. He realized that positive thinking wasn't about pretending life was easy. It was about believing that you were strong enough to face it. One evening, while walking home, Ethan noticed a young man sitting alone on a bench, looking defeated. Something felt familiar. Ethan sat beside him and asked, "Rough day?" The young man sighed. "Rough life." Ethan smiled softly. He listened. Encourage. And before leaving, Ethan handed the young man a small notebook. "Write 3 positive thoughts every morning," he said. Even if you don't believe them yet, in that moment Ethan understood the full circle of his journey. The power of positive thinking is not magic. It won't remove every hardship or guarantee success overnight, but it will change how you see yourself and how you show up in the world. Ethan's life changed the moment he stopped believing that he was powerless. His thoughts became his foundation, his strength, and his guide. If you are struggling today, remember, these your thoughts. Create your actions. Your actions shape your habits. Your habits define your life. Change your thinking, and slowly, quietly, your life will begin to change too. Because the most powerful thing you will ever control is not your circumstances, but your mind. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, please share it with someone who might need to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe for more content that inspires and empowers. See you next time.